Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking a pretty fascinating and comprehensive framework laid out by content creator Soul Angel. We're going to break down the highly specific qualities that, according to the source, transition a relationship from just casual dating to a lasting marriage. Let's dive right in and explore the 7 distinct traits this material identifies as the absolute difference between a quick fling and a lifelong commitment.
Look, the dating pool out there is massive, right? Millions of people, all with totally different characters, quirks, and traits. So the ultimate question the speaker poses is this: out of all those endless possibilities, what specifically makes a wife? What are serious, commitment-minded men actually searching for when they're evaluating a partner for the long haul?
But hey, before we get to the traits themselves, it's absolutely crucial we establish exactly who the source is talking about here. The creator is quick to point out that this isn't about just any random guy you might bump into. A good man is defined in this framework as a serious-minded, focused, and purpose-driven individual. There's a very deliberate effort here to distinguish this type of man from casual daters or those just looking to exploit partners financially. You know, the guys the material colloquially refers to as Gary Boys. So keep in mind, the standard we're about to explore is aimed specifically at men who are intentionally focused on building a real future.
So here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the foundation, move into daily maintenance, tackle conflict resolution, look at individual identity, and then wrap it all up with a quick summary.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the foundation, respect and total acceptance.
The very first quality on Soul Angel's list is respect, and the source makes a really fascinating distinction here between giving respect and acting out of fear. For a purpose-driven man, respect is paramount. The speaker actually compares it to the need for emotional stability in a woman. This means genuinely valuing your partner, speaking to them politely, and upholding their ego both in public and behind closed doors. But there's a very careful clarification made. Respect does not equal fear. The idea is, you fear a dangerous animal, you respect a partner, by treating them with inherent value, not tearing them down with constant rudeness.
And hand in hand with that respect comes total acceptance. The core message? Accept them for who they are today. It's a very direct, no-nonsense warning to anyone currently in the dating phase: do not marry someone with the desperate hope of changing them later. If you're just tolerating something right now to get a proposal, you are basically setting yourself up for a fire you won't be able to put out down the road.
Because let's be real, we've probably all been guilty of secretly hoping a partner will drop a bad habit. But the source insists you must accept the person in front of you for exactly who they are. To illustrate this, the speaker brings up some incredibly relatable anecdotes. Like if your partner chews loudly in public while you're dating and you say nothing. Yeah, don't expect them to suddenly change their table manners once there's a ring on your finger. The same applies to specific intimacy preferences. Couples really need to be honest about their needs early on rather than pretending and complaining later. And finally, total acceptance means absolutely no comparisons. You shouldn't be comparing a current partner to an ex who used to bring you breakfast in bed. You have to accept the reality of the person right in front of you.
Moving right along to Section 2, daily maintenance, support, and deep appreciation.
When it comes to daily habits, the framework really highlights support. A wife, the speaker advises, should basically be a man's ultimate sounding board. Purpose-driven men have visions, they have projects, they have ambitions. They're looking for a partner who will actually listen to their ideas and offer honest, polite feedback. The big warning here is against the tendency to immediately shoot down every single idea a partner brings to the table. Even if an idea is totally flawed, you have to find a supportive way to communicate those concerns. Because, according to the source, if a man feels constantly attacked, he's simply going to stop sharing his vision with you.
And closely tied to that support is deep appreciation. The speaker insists you've got to truly value the little things. We're talking about accepting small, unexpected gifts with a smile, appreciating their clumsy help with cooking in the kitchen, or just valuing a quick check-in phone call during a crazy busy day. It's all about recognizing the effort.
The source sets up a really stark contrast here: gratitude versus complaining. Think about it. If a partner makes a thoughtful effort, like planning a short weekend trip, and they're met with complaints about wanting a bigger vacation or a fancier car, well, the outcome is pretty simple. The man will eventually just stop trying. Cultivating gratitude and literally just saying thank you encourages a partner to keep making those thoughtful efforts.
That brings us to Section 3, conflict resolution, peace and clear communication.
Now, when it comes to arguments, the speaker uses this incredibly vivid analogy. It's the wife versus the knife. So a wife is peace-seeking. She creates a safe, relaxing home environment for a partner who has literally been dealing with stress all day.
Conversely, the framework warns against being a knife, someone who is quarrelsome, constantly nagging, and just looking for trouble at the slightest opportunity. A home lacking peace, according to the speaker, simply drives a partner away.
To really highlight what poor communication looks like, we get this highly relatable, almost comedic anecdote, the empty lotion bottle argument. Just imagine a scenario where a bottle of lotion runs out. Instead of simply communicating the need and saying, "Hey, can you pick up some more lotion?" a partner might silently let it sit empty, totally bottle up their frustration, and then suddenly start a massive, dramatic quarrel over it. It perfectly illustrates how destructive it is to turn a simple, easily stated need into totally unnecessary drama.
So how do we solve that? Well, the framework pushes for clear, direct logic. Based on the premise that men communicate logically and visually, directness is highly preferred here. You want to avoid what the speaker calls Genesis to Revelation storytelling. Taking this incredibly long, roundabout, highly dramatic path just to make a really simple point. Instead, state your needs directly and plainly, whether it's asking for groceries or communicating intimacy needs. Keep it straight to the point.
All right, on to Section 4, Individual Identity, Productivity, and Traditional Femininity.
Here, the host completely rejects that old traditional trope of the idle housewife who just kind of sits around all day. Instead, the modern standard laid out here is that a woman must be an asset, not a liability. You need to be confident, productive, and genuinely useful. If you don't have traditional skills, the advice is to get out there and acquire digital skills or real business acumen. A serious man, the source argues, wants a partner who can stand on her own 2 feet.
And finally, this framework anchors itself in a highly traditional philosophy. Quoting directly here, "There cannot be 2 captains in the ship." The speaker's belief is that a woman really needs to maintain her femininity and avoid competing to be the man of the house. In this specific worldview, a harmonious relationship requires clearly defined traditional gender roles where partners are definitely not competing for territorial dominance. And that leads us to Section 5, Summary, From Dating to Marriage.
So, let's do a really quick recap of the whole shebang. Number 1, respect. Value them and speak politely. 2, acceptance. Take them exactly as they are without trying to change them. 3, support. Back their vision. 4, appreciation. Show gratitude for those little everyday efforts. 5, peacemaking. Communicate your needs clearly and avoid that knife mentality. 6, productivity. Be a confident, skill-driven asset. And 7, femininity. Adhere to those traditional relationship dynamics.
And that brings us to the end of our analysis. The source material lays out a very specific, traditional, and highly structured roadmap for what purpose-driven men are supposedly looking for. But it definitely leaves us with a provocative thought to ponder. When it comes to finding a life partner, are these relationship standards truly universal rules of human nature, or are they uniquely personal to the specific life we individually want to build? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Think about your own standards, and we'll see you next time.